here. They're in the clouds. They've been here. You know, I've been contacting these things since, well, like the last week of 2010. But they've been here this whole time, all around us, everywhere. These, well, some of them are from Arcturus. Some of them are from Pleiades, Sirius. But a lot of these are elemental angels from Lyra. They're ancient Lyran souls, which is the race that seeded the Pleiades. Or, you know, for the most part they did. But they're here. There's a big thing going on with cats right now. Of course, cats have been, it's been my understanding and from my experience that cats, since about 2009, a lot of different cat breeds that are here have been incarnates from Lyra. So, that being said, it stands to reason. I know that I had an influx, and I talked to some other people who had an influx of cats start to come around them around that time that were a mix of orange and black, kind of a turtle dove colored. And I did a talk about it about a decade ago or so. But they're in our lives. These light beings are here. They're incarnated into animals. They're incarnated into some of us. And it's, there's definitely a split going on, as you can tell. Lots of energies are hitting the earth. Lots of things are coming to me at once to say, because I kind of channel as I talk. So, a lot of energies are going to be hitting really hard again until, you know, the summer solstice, and they'll just keep, you know, there'll be a steady flow of them from there, but we should have a little bit of a break. I noticed a lot of the people that have been awakened for a long time don't have the ascension symptoms as bad. It's been my understanding some of the people that have only been awakened a couple of years are having really bad right now. They seem pretty mild to me and mundane, but, you know, that could just be me. Okay, but it's my understanding they're hitting hard, and it stands to reason. There's a lot of M flares hitting the planet, and lots of light being shown from all directions of the universe right now. Well, it's kind of the place to look at. But the old paradigm, the split is definitely noticeable, I think, anyway, and a lot of people think so too. You look at some people, and speaking of Lyran cats, there's my cat. He just decided to come in too. When he knew I was getting ready to go on air, they do that too. They're mischievous like that. Yes, buddy. Anyway, you know what? I know you should have came in a little bit earlier. All right, there you go. Anyway, so they've always been incarnated from other star systems, some of them, but a lot of them have really been hitting hard here for the last decade and a half, and a lot more people are seeing these things in the clouds, these beings in the clouds that morph together. They're like interdimensional, boy, it's hard to describe them, because some of these things can be ships, they can be stars, they can be planets, they can be beings, and then a collective of them all at once, and they morph together, and the lower down in the dimensions they get, the more solid of a look they get to them. Some of them. There's differences. For instance, the Arcturians that come here, you will see them come down in these, man, I don't know really how to describe them. They look like a cross between a blue vase and a blue, like, high-tech, you know, bong that you would smoke weed out of. But some of them are in different colors, too. Some of them are green. Some of them are purple, too, and some of them have a pink twinge to them. But a lot of them are blue. That come on down. You know, a lot of people on my page on Facebook get good pictures of them a lot on the Pleiadian and Angelic Rainbow Orbs page. So those are Arcturian souls, okay, that come down in ships like that. These weird, trippy, dippy looking elemental type things you'll see in like the clouds, and some people are seeing them like I always have in the bushes and different places. Those are ancient Lyran souls for the most part, from Lyra. Elemental type guys. They're really funny looking. They're strange. They're not scary looking, but they're just trippy looking. They're just different. You know, their nose is pointed to one side of their face and have big grins on their face. Some of them, they just look different. They can morph kind of into whatever they want to. They use in the sky. Sometimes you will see it, what it looks like they're riding on a particular kind of an animal, right? Those are their chariots. They do that because they have a lot of human emotion too. Don't forget, these are super, 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 super ascended, like humans that are, you know, like millions of years ahead of us, some of them. You know, some just 10, 20,000, some millions of years ahead of us. So, in advancement. So they, they have favorite animals and things like that. So that's what they ride to show themselves off on, kind of sometimes. They don't want to interfere into your life. If you don't want them in your life, they don't want to be in your life. Yes, they will try to make every effort to get your attention if, they feel like they want to tune into your frequency, or if they feel like, or if they're part of your soul collective, right? There's that too. So that's what's going on right now, and it's, it's pretty undeniable. People will see it when they want to see it. The split is going on right now, and so that's it. That's kind of how it goes. And what the hell's going on here with TikTok? Well, okay, yeah. I don't understand that. Okay, whatever. Anyway, yeah, I just said, when I don't know what to do, fuck it, I just start pushing buttons. I've always thought that that's the best idea with anything technical or anything you're dealing with. Just start pushing buttons if you don't know what the fuck you're doing. So I do, and sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. But nevertheless, that's what's going on. And, it's funny, I don't know how I came onto it earlier. I was doing something on one of the platforms I'm on, and I came across some news from today. Shit that's going on here in the States. Let's see, what do we got going on in 3D land here? I feel like I'm looking into another planet when I see this shit. The Stanley Cup Finals are going on, the NBA Championship's going on, typical shit going on this time of year, yeah. Some bullshit with Musk and Trump. I mean, I could give a fuck less, really, personally. Because it's like I'm watching something from another planet, a more or less developed planet, right? And it doesn't even, I can't even really understand what they're saying. I hear with the words that are coming out of their mouth and hear what they're talking about, but then I don't know how I started doing this. I must be a glutton. I started reading people commenting on some of these subjects, and I'm like, fuck, these people were commenting on this shit, and it sounded like, to me, like a bunch of people were commenting on professional wrestling matches that they know are fake, but yet they're into them like they're real anyway. It sounded like that when they were talking about, I don't know, the Young Turks, I think, put out something like, whose side are you on, Musk or Trump's? Who gives a fuck? I have no clue. You know what? I have no idea who they even are. I mean, I do. I completely know who they are. I was into politics for years, but I don't give a fuck. It sounds like two people from another planet, and it's about a worthless story. I'll never get back the time I just wasted on bringing it up. But these light beings are all around you. They're encoded. They spread light language. Think of it like this. In Pleiadian higher evolved societies too, they don't have like road maps and all that shit blocking every passageway and all that. But on a planet, you could have a rainbow, double, triple rainbows, because the planet's that high of a vibration, right? And the density so small where, these rainbows spread out light codes. So they'll let you know wherever you're at all times. And yeah, that's pretty much how it goes. And then I think too, about religion, right? I think about, they think that it would, the announcement of extraterrestrials would cause people to freak out that we're really religious. And I'm sure that it would. I really can't, I'm sure it will, but I still can't see it because I'm so not in that world. But I'm sure that, if I wanted to, I could start the Reverend Larry Revival Hour every Sunday morning. Ladies and brothers and sisters, come on in. Come on into the Church of the Good Faith. Come on in, the Reverend Larry. Come on in and atone for your sins. Talk about it. Was the Lord not on your mind? The Lord needs to be on your mind at all times. Nothing else. This is why we don't want you thinking about sex outside of marriage or anything pleasurable or anything, because it will take away. It's not that we mind you doing that, but it will take away from your time of thinking of the Lord and all that is great with the Lord. And He's a jealous Lord, so you don't want to make the Lord jealous. It would hurt His feelings. It's a highly evolved being like that. Yeah, well, fuck all that, but I remember too one time, I don't know what came to my mind. I used to screw around on the shortwave radio before the internet came online and everything when I was a kid. And a couple of times I picked up this channel. It had to have been out of the United Kingdom. It had to have been because of the way they were talking. I would assume it was anyway. It might not have been. But these people really got into a fanatical state of, oh, my Lord of all lords, my Lord. The guy or the girl would do that, and then the guy would try to top her with, oh, my Lord, my Lord, my Lord, my Lord, my Lord. And then same mantra back again with that chick. Oh, my Lord of all, Lord of all. I mean, this went on for like, 10, 20 minutes. Right? And then I'd pick it up a few more times. It was kind of creepy. I picked it up a couple more times, screwing around in the shortwave. But, I mean, it was just really bizarre. You know what I mean? It kind of reminded me, too, why, like, the New Age community, I'm part of the Starseed community, why they got such a bad rap, like in the 1980s and 70s. Well, first of all, it was easier to marginalize people that didn't go along to get along back then, too. But a lot of them, the problem with that community back then is about a third of them were just kind of in it for the trend of it. About a third of them were really fucking nutty, radical, cold type people. And then a third of them were really great pioneer people for the cause. So it was a really interesting dichotomy with them. But, you'd get people that would channel back then. And really, they would get into these fucking hysterics with it. Like this lady Jane Roberts, who channeled the Seth material, just would get crazy. And there's no need for all that fucking shit. If you can't handle the information coming to you from extraterrestrials or can't handle it, don't be sloppy about it. Just keep it to yourself if you feel like you got to get into those fucking semantics. But that's kind of like what these religious people were doing on there. It was really, really weird. I wish I could get a hold of a tape of it somewhere. I think it was out of the UK, and it was in the, it was in the 80s sometime. I don't know, but these people were really creepy. I'm not sure I'd want to hear it again. But, I mean, I'm glad I didn't hear it late at night. Actually, I did hear it late at night. Yeah, it was, oh, my Lord of all Lord of all Lord of all lords, my Lord of all. It was really, I can't exaggerate how bad it was, but people, I think, hopefully people understand that you have to use discernment in every moment that you're in, and you are your own cult, your own guru. There is nobody else. You can look at other people for reference points or whatever, but if you want to put somebody on a pedestal and, hang on every word they say, I mean, that's really not where it's at, to be honest. I mean, at least I've found it's not, and I just, maybe it's my attitude, I just wouldn't do it. I mean, I just don't have the time, or I don't really give a fuck, too, about what anybody else I've ever heard says that enough to care that much. Maybe one day I'll run into that person, and I'll be like, oh, my Lord of all Lord of all lords of all lords. Could be. You never know. I mean, life is strange. It could happen, folks. I could hire a guru. Now, I would hire a guru. If I was wealthy, I would hire a living guru as a spiritual advisor. I would. Not one that I fucking hung on his word, but just want somebody to bounce ideas off and to sit there in a fucking blue get up and look cool when people came over. Yeah. Oh, I would totally. But, that would be my thing. I wouldn't. I'd just ask him for advice, here and there, and, like the meaning of life. The meaning of whatever, the meaning of stars, the meaning of the sky, the meaning of stars up in the sky, just things of that nature. For my own entertainment purposes, you understand. But, you are your own. You're your own. There is nobody, because anybody that you look up to or idolize like that, really, they're no, yes, we're infinite beings, but, they could have their head blown off at a sidewalk. Just like, and be done for this incarnation anyway. So, just trust in yourself, use discernment. There is no right or wrong answer until you get into the moment, you know what I mean? Of whatever it is you're in. And hopefully when you make the right decisions every now moment, the next one will follow suit. Just how it goes. But, yeah, the energies are going to be really strong hitting the earth this weekend. And so I just wanted to touch base with everybody and wish everybody a great weekend. And that's about it. And don't forget to, next time you think about having a pleasurable thought or doing anything nice for yourself, think about the time that it will be taken away from thinking about, oh, your Lord of all lords. Yeah, and don't forget to tune in every Sunday morning to the Reverend Larry Revival Hour. Reverend Larry will be asleep through it, but you can go ahead and tune in anyway. That's about all I got to say. Thank you, TikTok. Thank you, Facebook, for this time. I appreciate it, and don't forget to pay homage to Lord of all lords. Oh, my Lord of all lords. Oh, no, my Lord of all lords of all lords of all lords. Okay, we could go on, but I gotta go.